Hi everybody and welcome to these special editions of Inspired by Moor Voices. Dartmoor and Exmoor, ruled by queens, shepherds of the people, daughters of Tamar, who once reigned over all Erythea, this ruby Devon. In this final episode, we will be exploring the possible power structures in Bronze Age Dartmoor and Exmoor. If you've been watching all of our videos, you'll know by now that the majority of our knowledge of Bronze Age Britain comes from the analysis of archaeological findings, and anything else is mostly observation. However, as Exmoor National Park's Rob Wilson North put it, sometimes these things can be better than fiction, because we are able to speculate based on real evidence. So let's have a look at some of the ideas we have explored in our play Daughters of Sunset regarding power and religion in Bronze Age Devon. The first one is a controversial topic: matriarchy. In Med Theatre's Moor Voices production Daughters of Sunset, we portray two communities from Dartmoor and Exmoor who are ruled by queens in a matriarchal society. Matriarchy can take its form in a variety of ways, but ultimately implies that women govern over the people, as opposed to men, as in a typical patriarchy. It can also mean that the inheritance of power or property is matrilineal, meaning it passes from mother to daughter, rather than from father to son. Although there are many ways to define matriarchy, Med Theatre's portrayal in Daughters of Sunset shows a matrilineal society where women own the land. This is still evident in some cultures today, for example, in the rural parts of Malawi. The play suggests that this might have created a more nurturing political environment, with the exception of human sacrifices, which there is some evidence might have taken place in the Bronze Age. Mark Beeson, writer of Daughters of Sunset, says, although controversial, the suggestion that matriarchal or matrilineal societies may have been widespread across Europe in the Bronze Age has been championed by the archaeologist and scholar Maria Gimbutas, among others. From deciphering Linear B tablets, it has been established that ownership of the land was matrilineal in the Bronze Age Minoan culture of Crete. On Dartmoor, the recent discovery of the grave goods in the White Horse Hill Kist, indicating a female of importance buried on one of the highest and most prominent locations in the south of England, gives a tantalising hint that matriarchy may also have existed here. Worship of goddesses. If you have watched the first episode of this series, you will already know that Daughters of Sunset features several mythological female figures. These include Sedna from Inuit mythology, Ceto, Hera and the Hesperides from Greek mythology, and the Selkies from Celtic folklore. The inclusion of these characters is a further exploration into the possibility of a matriarchal society. If Dartmoor and Exmoor were ruled by women, then is it likely that they also would have most prominently been worshipping those in a female form? Alongside this look at the worship of goddesses as opposed to their male counterparts, the play takes inspiration from a somewhat controversial theory, the Aquatic Ape Hypothesis, proposed by Alistair Hardy and made popular by the feminist writer Elaine Morgan. This theory puts forward the suggestion that for some time early humans were required to live on the shores of seas and lakes, and that during this time it was women who drove our evolution as they stood in the deep waters, both to forage and to escape the predators on land. Some of our shared features with seals, such as lack of body hair, tear ducts and subcutaneous fats, as well as other qualities of the human body, are said to be a result of this period of time. This possible relationship between women and the sea, or sea mammals, is highlighted in Daughters of Sunset through the myths that lend themselves to our play. Sun, the moon, and the stars. It is often thought that prehistoric monuments were built in relation to astronomy, and in particular the sun. The most well-known example of this is Stonehenge, which appears to be aligned with the direction of the sunrise of the summer solstice and the sunset of the winter solstice. Equally, some of our own prehistoric monuments here on Dartmoor and Exmoor are located in relation to ancient astronomy. For example, the drizzle-comb cairns with accompanying stone rows are placed in relation to the moon's position over its 19-year cycle. This could suggest that they had a very intimate knowledge of the sun and the moon and of their horizon. Archaeological discoveries and artefacts from further afield also suggest some connections between Bronze Age people and the sun, the moon, and the stars. A great example of this is the Nebra sky disk, which was discovered in 1999 in Nebra, Germany. The disk appears to show a depiction of the cosmos, including the sun, a crescent moon, and what could be the stars. Interestingly, both the gold used in the details on the disk and the tin component of the bronze were analysed and found to have Cornish origins. Religion and worship. In Daughters of Sunset, our queens, Dart and Esk, are guided by the priestess, a religious leader with a special understanding of women's affinity to sea creatures. Her role is to help the community to do what is required of them, to please the goddesses they worship, and to atone for the wrongs done in the past, specifically the theft of the golden apples by Mycenaean Heracles. You can hear that story again if you go back to episode 1. In reality, we have little evidence of whether the people of Bronze Age Devon would have worshipped gods or goddesses. Many people believe that, as well as having some relation to the sun or the moon, the Bronze Age monuments we see around us were likely to have been used for religious ceremonies or burials. It has also been suggested that cairns, barrows, and kists might have been located on higher ground in order to position the dead closer to the gods, or to their equivalent of the heavens. So now it's your turn to have a think about power and religion in Bronze Age Devon. Do you think it's possible that Dartmoor and Exmoor could have, for any period of time, been ruled by a matriarchy? And if you could go back into the past, what form of worship or religious practice do you think you might witness taking place?